What's up, Army? Welcome back to Redemption 46 Studios. I'm Nick.
안녕, 로입니다.
And I'm Curtis.
You know the vibes. Y'all seen the picture. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Y'all know why y'all here. Not today versus dope.
Ooh.
No long talk at all. It's been a while since we've seen both of these dance practices. I'm interested to see how these fight each other head up. Jump in the comments before we get into it. If you've seen both of them, tell us who you think the winner is going to be. Let's jump into this.
And hit the poll, one vote.
Shit. What with that? Not today. I'm Chinga.
Come on, JK.
Children. Hey, footwork. Oh my, hey. Footwork. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey. Light jump. Ah. Right here. Ah. Too hard. Too high. Me on trampoline. Too high. J.O. What you say, yay? Not today, yay? Hey, hey. Slow creep. Oh my, hey, hey. Oh, look at everyone's feet. Right here with the, hey, hey. Shit. Shit. Who at the center? Hey. Oh, shit. Shit. Massa. Hey, hey. Ah. There. Ah. Arm lock. Shit, I think they just killed the haters.
It's like the fourth song doing it.
You gotta keep reminding.
I know,
niggas.
right? It's a playlist at this point.
Y'all must have forgot.
It's like we remember.
You know what? So let's jump right in the dope, man.
맞다,
I think it is. Chill, bro. Chill, bro. Like, that was dope.
All right.
All right.
It's tough.
Not really that tough for me. Like, I do think both of these were dope, ironically. I think, me personally, I started leaning towards Not Today because I think by the time, when you look at the choreo on Not Today, you can see that, like, the choreography as a whole got more refined, if that makes sense. Dope is definitely, like, unique to me, and I think that like, it's a lot of elements like that work for it. I actually like some of, like, the playful manner. I like the like formations and everything. Dope. I mean, Not Today just is kind of like larger than life, and that might be my top 5 or 10 just footwork from BTS. I know I'm real big on moments and stuff. It's a lot of moments on there like I like a lot better. And I always go for what I think is, like, you know how you said you put yourself in the shoes? It's almost the same way. Just what do you think might be harder to execute as far as, like, energy I have to exude and just kind of what has to go? So I'm kind of leaning towards Not Today, and I'll jump a little bit more into it after y'all get y'all spill off.
So, from the rip, I've always liked Not Today better as a song. And kind of just in general, like I just recently got into dope. Maybe like
Might want to reword that.
yeah. I just recently got into Jetta, but
I feel like that's even worse for SK.
Jetta,
No.
Jetta.
I'm sorry.
No, that was wrong. I just recently got into Jetta, but this choreography made me like the song even more. I remember from the video and like the lyrics, I didn't like it, and I think I probably was a little too harsh on the song and everything in general because of the. I judged it so much off some of the lyrics or whatever, or what I felt was the lyrical content was going for. As far as it kind of felt like a shaming song, like. But now I look at it for
It was that video.
Yeah, that was like y'all shaming people for going out and
going
having
out
a
and
good
shit.
time and everything like that. And I think in context it probably was just translated the wrong way, but because I think I look at it now as they were talking about working hard and getting to your your goals and everything like that. So, but remember, this was the video before No Dreams, and No Dreams is like what changed everything around for me and everything like that. So I was still on that type time where I wasn't really giving them a chance because I didn't know them as well. I wasn't familiar with them. I hadn't kind of really taken them in. Now with that shit out the way, I gotta go with Jada just because dope. That is just because.
Fuck go. You gotta go with dope.
It's a safer route when you Fenty.
Not today.
Not today.
But yeah, I say Jada is the winner just because y'all know, like I said, y'all know what judge I am. I'm the fucking dance move. If I broke this up piece by piece as far as all the movements, does everything still look great on its own? And with this, I can say every sequence looks great on its own, holds up, and like I said, it makes the song pop a little bit more for me. It kind of makes me want to dance. Whereas Not Today is my gym song, one of my cardio songs and everything like that, or when I'm lifting. It's kind of, I'm in that mood, I'm in that motion. But, you do get some moments, bum, bum, the chorus and everything, like, nah, not today. But it's just, I'm going straight forward with that one. I'm not doing anything else. Whereas with Dope, that beat got too many, especially with the little bugle or horn that's in there and everything like that. That kind of, yeah, like it just really kind of, they obviously have a lot more going on with that beat than I originally remember and everything like that. Just the way the drums go, then the breakdown and everything before each verse starts. I thought that was so dope, and it's reflected in the choreography too, which makes it so much more dope, if you will. And like, especially the move where they and like crouch down and everything, and the RM start rapping. Like, I'm telling you, bro, he is, even with Hope and in the whole 3Js and everything like that, something about RM is my barometer for how good the dance is, the choreo, the dance practice and everything like
What do you
that
mean
is.
by that?
He's the barometer for it for me, because when RM is intense and like really killing his moves, like in Danger, when we did the Danger versus Boy in Love, and RM was the one that tipped it over for me. When I sometimes just watching him, bro, I think it's also because he's the tallest member too, so it kind of look different when a taller person is doing stuff too. Something about him, his dancing is more charismatic than he gets credit for because of the 3Js and maybe V and everything like that. But damn, bro, he really like smokes some of the moves. He just kind of like brings it to life for me a little bit more and everything like that. And I love his expressions when he dances. In almost all the choreo, he's one of the best when it comes to like just making facial expressions and not looking like I'm thinking about the dances, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He really seems focused and into it and makes it so much more real for me. So Jada won, but Not Today was actually pretty dope. But I like the footwork too. But I think what kind of messed that up too is Keith was like, it's the same thing that was in Fire too. That's kind of why. Now I'm kind of tight that he wasn't here because I wanted to say it, but it's whatever.
What for work for Not Today?
He said, he said it was just the same one as Fire. Fire John felt a little bit more like, a little harder to me. and you know, obviously I think that gym and having the background dancers right there for the whole Jong kind of took away from it too. But it's not bad. It's just Joda is that much more like.
Yeah, two things before Kurt jumps in. It's funny you think is like the barometer, because like I'm on record, like I honestly think that like all 7 of them, I count them as like elite professional dancers, just because I think people don't get how hard it probably is to dance with like the 3Js. Just the level you would have with, we keep referring to like the whole kissing styles thing, where it's like it's hard when you chic, because kissing styles may be like the top 5 lyricists of all time, and I gotta either go before them, in the middle, or after, which means that like if their part is the best part, quote unquote, even if I'm doing something at an elite level, it doesn't seem as elite as them, if that makes sense. If y'all know, y'all know. I don't know what other analogies I can give y'all to kind of for y'all to get it. If you're in Destiny's Child and Beyonce is like the focal point, or you think she's the best dancer, and then Kelly is next, and Michelle is the bottom of your totem pole, just because Michelle isn't Beyonce doesn't mean that she's not like a great dancer. She's also dancing at an elite level. It's just that's Beyonce. So maybe y'all would get that reference like a lot better. So with that being said, I do look at the choreo, and I do try to look at anyone that's not the 3Js to kind of see footwork, to see timing, and see everything else to kind of go with it. I don't necessarily think that the dance on Not Today is the exact same dance from Fire. I think it's a couple different core elements with the hand movements. The feet go out a little differently and stuff, and it's extra pieces here that aren't implemented in Fire. I definitely can get how someone can look and be like, oh, okay, it's somewhat of, it's in the same street. I'll give you that. I think they live in the same neighborhood, but it's not like on the same block. And what was supposed to be my other point? About the backup, I do agree that I think with Not Today, it probably would have been hard for them to take out those background dancers. They still got their shit off, and you really couldn't even get into the whole choreography because you couldn't see a lot of the interesting things that go on because of how far back you were. Also, like with the MV, I think they make the Not Today choreo look much better because of certain things that they do. Like on the MV, JK will start off during the choreo on the chorus, and he'll be dancing and he's by himself. They do a wide shot to trick you and just be like, okay, he's here. They cut back to a closer shot with JK, and it pans out, and Jimin and V and them jump in the shot. So it's like subtle things like that that I think they do for the choreography that's dope, that we really didn't get a chance to see here, because it was almost just like, all right, all y'all stay where y'all at and try to keep it going. But I'll let Kurt jump in and then jump in.
So you're not going with dope?
I'm still not today.
I was going to say please.
Not today, but it's hard because I always try to make people like, obviously we bit up here, we have fun. And
no, bro, I know. I was asking the question just to get you to say that.
And when we get like edgy, I think sometimes people will take that as like, oh, someone don't like fuck with neither one and stuff like that. And I think these be such an elite level of dancing that you just get to a point where you're very much picking your preference and then nitpicking. And then if y'all never been in a debate before, you really start grasping for straws and just be like, that shit corny. How you feel, Kurt?
Feel dope?
All right, so
We're not
officially
today.
we're at 1-1, right? Which would make me, at least up here on the panel, the tiebreaker. It's strange because I really do like both of them in their own unique ways. I do think ultimately everything within Not Today, and I do love it, and I know the video a lot better. So I know, like, for example, if I'm judging just on this video, I admit that there's a lot in the beginning, particularly that's obscured, you know, because you're not as close to, you know, pick up on those things. But I don't want to say that it's cheating or anything like that, but knowing what I know about the choreography from the MV and things of that nature, I'm able to kind of fill in those gaps, if it makes sense. So if I'm judging it on that regard, I do think it is something that could take away from choreography as far as like if you're looking at the Not Today. For me personally, I'm not letting it affect my opinion on it. But if it did for any of you, then I could see why. That being said, I do think ultimately it's Not Today for me. I think there's so much intricacies that goes in with I want to say the staging and blocking mostly, but that's the fact that like my favorite thing within that is when they split the formation and BTS ends up on this side, background ends up on the other side, and clearly you're showing like try not to be swayed by haters or anything like that. And if you do, and I forget exactly the release point of if it's Fire or Not Today that came out first, but they both kind of used the
Not Today. Fire came out first. Not Today came out.
There did seem to be a little bit of a running theme with the background dancers wearing all black
and being haters,
representative of the haters. So I didn't know if that was to carry forward in this, but necessarily it's on the same kind of. It's a similar message, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
But so when they kind of split off, and you see the background dancers like on the ground, they kind of do this motion where it looks like they're either rowing or fishing. But it looks like they're like reeling them in, and you see BTS is struggling. They're kind of stumbling to their knees and then getting back up a little bit. And that's kind of where the beat breaks down a little bit. It's like that low point in the song. You know how like in a movie you get the low point towards building up to the third act.
To the climax,
usually where the bridge will kind of be represented in a song for comparison. So that move and everything, and like them tugging. But then as the beat rises up and you get that crazy dance break, with the arms interlocking, the footwork and everything, that's when they like kind of have that, for lack of a better term, basically that catharsis where they basically kind of explode.
Yeah.
And then, the haters, represented by the background dancers in that regard, fall away. And that's when they kind of get their shine. And then towards the end, I believe, when the background dancers are in line like this, and it's all, the BTS members will kind of sway their head one way while the background swings it the opposite way. So it created this unique kind of framing where they stacked up really nicely. And just the way they line that up with each person's head, like how hard that must have been, the kind of time and everything, because you only get a split second to actually make it work. So I thought all that was done really well. But then even within that, and then BTS steps forward, and then they now lead the line where it's like the haters are behind them; they're no longer in front of them. Because BTS in the beginning of the video, they had to work their way to the front. Whereas at the end, they're at the front, and then everyone's behind them, and they're no longer like obscuring them, like they're almost hidden behind us. So I just think there's a lot of technical kind of capabilities that go into that, and then when you add to that the incredible footwork and everything, the high intensity of everything, like I think Not Today is going to take it for me on that regard. But in regards to Dope, I think you do get much more personality and moments within it, as far as because you're clearly focusing on just the members. It's a lower, budget kind of seemingly, as far as like it wasn't like, because it was an earlier song for them. So you don't have like too much uses of any kind of background or any like, like what you see is what you get, but in a good way. And they start out, individually. So you get each kind of member seemingly individually before they hop in and all take over. And then when you notice when it's, as you had said, the song representing where it's basically you work hard to kind of get your just dues, and whether it's going for this profession or that profession, like as we've seen in the video. Now, it has been a while since I've seen the video, but I like that they kind of played up those aspects of it. And particularly my favorite part within the Dope choreography was right when the beat switched up, just before, it sounded like almost some kind of like bongo or drum of some sort. I think so, but it was like a dunk 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 like kind of sound.
That RM
yes.
part, yeah.
And then RM, he comes in for his part, and I love the intensity and everything that was kind of brought to with his part. And then everything after that kind of like hit like the epitome of the song, like the climax of the song and everything like that. So I think all those things were done really well throughout, but it's like if
this
you
shit
give,
right here.
Yeah, if you give, because mind you, they also had the time, the head movements, the arm sways, the hip sways, the run out moments. Like they did such a good job of all those things. So I could see why anyone would lean Dope if that was. Let me reword that.
RM did all this.
Someone would lean Dope.
Yeah, literally.
RM did all this with a newsboy cap on.
And the Converse.
What guy?
Yeah, I think too. Cause
I'll give it to Not Today.
Yeah, I'll try. not so much try to like shoot stuff Bell. We watch so many like high octane like choreos that sometimes, you know how like, let's just say like it's parts in Dope where I don't want to say things don't feel choreographed, but it's almost like it feels like part of the choreograph is like, yo, just be cool here for 6 seconds. In the sense of like someone's standing there and obviously like everything is choreographed to the performance. So if it's only your part in the song, it's like, I think the choreograph, you can't help but like not do anything because it's just you. Let's say like you were leading the charge and you're a rapper and you're on the first part and you don't really have choreo. It's almost just like you're like, yo, I'm here looking cool until Kurt comes into the frame. Then Kurt comes into the frame. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I'm going with this. Yeah. And there was certain sections on here where like that was going on. And like I get it. Or even just stuff like that where it's like I'm performing and y'all kind of in y'all cool mode where it's like kind of like, and it not like it hurts this performance, but I guess judging it off of that and then comparing it to Not Today where it's not too many parts of just those, I don't want to call it bleak moments. God bless your soul. It's not too many the lows are lower on Dope than they are on Not Today for me. As far as just like the quote unquote dry spots, and I don't want to really call them dry spots because I think they're just spots for you to perform. And it's just you can only perform around the song. So it's like, you know, if the song only calls for a rapper, like even here, RM, it makes more sense in the video for him to be right here, but technically there's no reason for him to be here kind of now. And then he literally kind of has to walk out the frame. Then right here is just like, okay, I'm kind of waiting for everyone to kind of come back in, but you got to perform. Jim is like, okay, slow walk, but I got to perform. These are kind of, I don't want to call them dry spots, but it's just kind of like, I'm waiting for this. I did all that to wait for this.
The beat didn't come on yet.
And that's why I said, like, it's not like a knock, but it's you can only perform around the song. And it's just the way that Dope is set up, it's a build-up song. It comes on, RM introduces BTS to the world, and initially JK and them are just kind of building up until the still dope as fuck though. Anything else you want to add?
Oh no, I'm good.
Anything else you want to add?
Dope is fucked up.
Yeah, so that was just trying to give y'all a little bit more insight. Like I said, don't take shit to heart, y'all.
Could I add one thing?
Yeah.
Just to kind of like piggyback off that point a little bit, I do understand what you mean when it's like you're trying to work your way kind of to a point, like whether there's going to be a beat switch or a change in formation, which is usually aided by a beat switch. Like where you're like, you don't want to seem like it's downtime, but it's like everyone else is kind of working their way, waiting to jump in for that moment. So it's like if you don't have anything that's too either complex or intriguing to a viewer, seemingly, you know, granted, I mean, there's many factors that go into why that would be a thing, whether it's a slow song, an emotional song, if you're telling a story. I mean, there's all kinds of factors that go into that, but I could see that would be like a little bit more like whereas it could be a highlight for one, it could be, you know, like something that's
almost a ding to the other.
Yeah, almost a ding to the other. I couldn't think of the word, but it's and then when you look at the Not Today aspect of it, where it's like you're in largely kind of wide frame for, you know, because it's such a big scale, such a big setting to incorporate everyone, that if you're not seeing BTS specifically performing the moves from the further back aspect of it, if that's a thing for you, that would, you know, make sense as well. So I do think those things ultimately are kind of toss-ups at that point. But I will say that if you're someone who prefers more individual moments and personality, I think this would be something that fits a lot better for you. And if you're someone who does, you know, lean into more of the grandioseness, and especially, I mean, what the songs represent within the journey is going to hold a little bit more sentiment as well. Because if they're, you know, in Fire or in Not Today, and you're seeing them kind of, you know, basically do away with the haters in their own way, where it's like they overcome those things, at least, you know, within the theme of the song. If you know what was going on around that time, that's going to hold a lot more emotion for you. So I understand where all those kind of caveats would be.
Shit. Yeah, and fuck, what was I about to say? I wanted to say two things, and should I remember one and forget the other? The second part of that was, I think some of the difference too is that like All right, so on Not Today, like in the choreo joint, RM has some of like almost the same beats that he has on Dope, and somehow Not Today incorporated them like a lot better. The slow walk is kind of like a little bit more decent for RM's part. He does some footwork like while he's rapping and stuff. I think his arms, he does like a cool arm move and everything too. You don't want to say like they're standing around here, but it's just Not Today tended to illustrate one person by themselves a lot better, and sometimes had the formation set up to where if one person was moving, they were moving around people, so it visually looked it better. It's almost like stacking with filming, like as opposed to just having one subject there with nothing being there at all. You had the subject walking through things or things in the front and the back to add a bit of complexity to the shot.
Yeah, when you had foreground versus background versus midground. I mean, even with a painting, if you're looking at a painting, like you can draw, you know, the equivalent of 2D versus 3D or anything like that. Or just, you know, even within 2D as far as painting and drawing, it's like if you have someone in the forefront, then you have trees behind them, then you have mountains behind those trees. It kind of creates a front, middle, and back within the frame, as opposed to someone who's just on an empty road, maybe seemingly, where it's just if there's no city or buildings being portrayed, it kind of makes the frame a little bit more stagnant, I guess I want to say. Yeah,
which is funny, too. Lo, you could jump in. You know how me and you be talking, we be like, all these title tracks have like those pillars and those moments of BTS and stuff. I'm pretty sure Dope is like a way bigger moment for BTS than like Not Today is and shit. So it's like, it's funny to like compare and shit like that. And I'm honestly anxious to see what the poll says and stuff like that, because I know sometimes
I wouldn't be shocked too, because I mean they were kind of known even early on from kind of speaking out on things of that nature. And if this was one of those things where it's like, yo, someone's not in the big three and they're kind of making this statement, I could definitely see if that would turn a tide.
So yeah, I'm just interested to see the poll, because I know we know sometimes people can tend to vote for the choreo that is more nostalgic and also more kind of, I don't want to say you fuck with the song, but just kind of you lean towards like that song a little bit. That's why I love when you guys actually give a response to why and kind of get into detail, because it is like a lot of dancers, I think, that follow us too, that tend to talk about the technical parts. So jump in the comments, tell us who you picked, and like give us a reason. The poll will be available for this as well, so you guys can vote on the poll, because it's always fun for us to go back, look at the poll, and see who won and why. But this was fun, man. Choreos have been fun. We're gonna be doing like more of these. Stay tuned. Love you, Army. We'll holla at y'all.
Take care.